Hello everyone and welcome back to Conan Exiles Age of War Chapter 3. This is another quick video just to bring you my updated thoughts and pointers on who my top 2/3 followers are for Chapter 3. Particular ones that I like and kind of why I like them. Because of their, I suppose, ease of use to get potentially, and also possibly a extra one that we'll throw in there as well just as a little bonus for a couple of other reasons why they're in there, but we'll explain that later on in the video, so let's jump into it right now. So as I'm sure many of you are aware, there are lots of videos out there at the moment now talking about the best thralls or fighters in Chapter 3, but for me personally it's going to be a little bit different because there are some that are my personal favourites, but also just wanted to share with you guys why they are my favourites and why they are still recommended. The ones in front of me right now are probably very obvious, but we'll get into that in just a second. There's also another couple who are pretty much the same, so they're just a carbon copy of each other, but also followers that I found pretty good and pretty effective as well, which we'll take a look at, and also maybe even a little cheeky bonus one at the end that could also have their uses as well, but we'll get into that in just a second. So for our top two, in, I say no particular order, but the number 2 spot for a decent melee damage modifier, but still not just quite yet the number 1 spot, goes to Delinia Snowhunter, or Delinia the Accursed. And as you can see here, so the one on the right is Delinia Snowhunter and the one on the left is Delinia the Accursed. So she is the Isle of Sipta version of Delinia Snowhunter. And with what I could find information wise at the moment, their melee damage modifier is 2.236 and range damage modifier of 2.064. Now this could be slightly different, but this is what the wiki was saying when I looked this up recently. So Delinia takes the number 2 spot for the second highest damage in the game. And for those who don't know, Delinia Snowhunter is a Cimmerian Fighter 4 or named fighter, so she comes from the Mounds of the Dead, and there are quite a few locations up there, along with Stargazer's Crest, a little camp just north of there, where you have a chance to get her to spawn. I'll show you one of the spots at Mounds of the Dead after where you got a chance of getting her to spawn at the end of this video. As I say, also Delinia the Accursed is available on Isle of Sipta. And if we take a look at their stats, as you can see, at level 0, she still comes with 15 in strength, 0 in agility, 30 in vitality, 0 in grit, and a decent base health to start out with. She's quite a slow leveler, but if you focus level particular stats, so vitality and strength ideally for Delinia, you can get either of these up to a decent amount, and if you get lucky with decent perks for her, you can get a decent amount of health on her, or HP on her as well, if you want to call it that. But you do also now, if you have learnt sorcery, have the added bonus of using the elixir of rebirth, so the potion of rebirth. You can obviously feed these to your followers one by one and change the perks that they get, which can potentially increase or decrease their health a little bit, and also just give them a bit more to their bonuses at the bottom left there. Not a huge difference, but it does help if you end up with perks that you don't particularly like. And just to show you for comparison, Delinia the Accursed, exactly the same, just the version that is available on the Isle of Sipta. So taking the number 1 spot, believe it or not, at the moment is the Cimmerian Berserker and the Accursed Berserker. So we have the Cimmerian Berserker on the right, and then the Accursed Berserker, which is the Isle of Sipta equivalent once again on the left there, both in male and female once again, so it depends what you get. Also a guaranteed spawn location for them at Mounds of the Dead on the Exile lands, which I'll show you at the end of this video. The only difference being it may be male or it may be female, but it is a guaranteed spawn once again. and they take the top spot with the melee damage modifier of 2.24, and they do have a reasonable range damage modifier of 2.08, but with a Cimmerian Berserker, to be honest, you want to focus on melee because they are a pretty hard hitting strength build. Oops, don't know why I just did that. But if we take a look at the stats, as you can see there, varying percentage chances to level up once again depending on what you get, down to the RNG of how lucky you get, but they once again come with 15 in strength, 0 agility, 30 vitality, 0 grit, pretty slow levelers once again. But I say slight downside to these, it's not really a downside, but the only thing to bear in mind in comparison with these is these are slightly easier to get than Delinia, but they do start out with, as you can see there, a slightly lower HP than what she does. So although she's slightly harder to get, she does have a little bit more starting HP than the Berserker, but both still absolutely outstanding followers, hit like absolute trucks. So if you are a solo player that likes to run the well-trained perk with one follower, you could have them with some really good stat numbers, with some good high value armor and a decent one-handed or two-handed weapon, like again momentum or some sort of a really good hard-hitting mace, or a really good high damage two-handed sword. And the same with Delinia. The beauty of these is you could run 2 Berserkers if you like War Party, or 2 Delinias, or a Delinia and a Berserker, and just absolutely rule the exile lands with them, because they both hit like absolute trucks. So as I say, the info that I could find on these on the wiki was a little bit different. It may not be as up to date as they currently stand, but there won't be a huge difference in this if there is. And I just wanted to include these because these young ladies are both of the Nordheimer, heirs of the North tribe, if you will, and it was coming up with a melee damage modifier for them of 1.584, and the same for the range damage modifier. And I wanted to include these because again, these are 2 that I like to use, and still not the hardest hitting, but pretty decent, and do start out with decent HP and can also level up pretty decently as well. Again, not terribly fast levelers, but not too slow, depending on how you do it with them. Both archers, once again named, you've got Freya on the left and then Master Huntress on the right. Both have guaranteed spawns on exile lands once again, so pretty easy to get hold of. As I say, both archers, but if we take a look at their stats once again, similar to the Cimmerians, they are a strength based archer, so they come with the points in strength and vitality once again. So these are people again that you'd want to either give a strength bow to if you're going to keep them as an archer, as a defender on your base, or if you want to take them out as a melee focused fighter, they are pretty decent too. Again, with a mace, Freya seems to be pretty good, and with a pretty decent strength based armor setup, she could be pretty good as well. Likewise, Master Huntress, she can be pretty the same. She's pretty much just a carbon copy of Freya, so there's not a lot different in them, and certainly as you can tell here, if you have them in the same armor, if you haven't got nameplates showing, it's quite hard to tell who's who, because they are pretty much a carbon copy of each other. But again, both have decent numbers, do some decent damage, got some pretty good high HP, and they are both named, and they do have guaranteed spawns in the exile lands. Now, I know what you're thinking. I thought I had a bonus one to show you. Well, yeah, they weren't it. They were just a third recommended one for me personally. You may think differently about them, you may think they're no good, but I just wanted to include them because they are 2 of my favourites once again in the game. I do have a few, well, a couple of each on the server that I use, so I just wanted to include those. But no, the actual bonus one I wanted to include, if I turn around, is actually these 2 young ladies here. and we have recently done a video on these. If you haven't seen it, do go check it out on the channel. I'll leave a card at the end of this video for this. And we are of course talking about Leah Neely on the left and Amma the Seductress, both two, again, tier 4 named entertainers this time. So in my opinion, two of the best entertainers on the map, with pretty good HP and okay damage. As you can see there, their damage modifiers are only 1.6, so they're not very strong, but paired up in War Party with somebody like a Delinia or a Berserker, they'd do absolutely fine. Or even just leveled up to keep them as an entertainer on your base and have them attacking nothing, they'll do just fine as well. Well, that is just about going to conclude it for this one once again, guys. That's the video all wrapped up. Just a nice quick one again, just to tell you about my top thralls, or followers as we like to call them on this channel, or friends, whatever you want to call them. Absolutely superb followers to have. Delinia and the Berserker, totally recommend them. So if you haven't got one yet, do go out and try and get yourself one. Massive thank you to you all once again for watching. Thank you so much for your support last year on the channel, and very much appreciated. Hope you stick with us in 2024. At the time of this video, we're just into January, getting back into the swing of things now. And let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments, whether you agree that these are the best, or if you've got somebody else that you like, why you like them, what sort of army you give them, or how long you've had them. Let me know if either of these are your favourites. And while you're down there, why not subscribe? Hit the like button so this gets shared to more and more people. And until I catch you all in a future live stream or in the next video, thanks once again for watching. From me, bye bye for now.